we're seeing more and more of people talking about the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro, and I think that's kind of getting people's excitement cranked up to 11 instead of 10, because 11 is more than 10. So that's where people are at right now. I see a lot of people talking about it. Of course, I've been doing some videos about it. I'm excited about it too. Like originally I wasn't real sure about the PlayStation 5 Pro, if it'd be something I'm interested in, but now, just like as a gamer and somebody who wants to see gaming do well, I really think that this is something that honestly needed to happen, to just get people excited about consoles again. It's like, it sucks seeing the Xbox kind of take the hit that they've taken, where they're not really selling very well. But at the end of the day, I think Microsoft has themselves to blame for a lot of that. But this is about PlayStation 5 Pro, PlayStation 5, things like that. Sony gave a little bit of a response because people were asking specifically for something, and I was really kind of surprised that they actually got this response from it as well. So very interesting indeed, because people were asking for a PS5 or a PS5 Pro port of Sunset Overdrive. Obviously, look, as somebody who was an Xbox fan, I love Sunset Overdrive. I think it's a really, really great game. It was really cool to see, something like that happen on an Xbox platform, right? It was really cool to see that. I would love to see another one. I would love to see that one remastered or something. Anyway, but Sunset Overdrive developer Insomniac Games responds to recent calls for a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Pro port of the game, explaining that the studio is currently too busy with other projects. Sunset Overdrive is a weird title, especially in regard to its exclusivity, as it was released back in 2014 for the Xbox One, before the developer was bought by Sony and became a PlayStation studio. Xbox never got the rights to the property before the buyout. That means Sony now owns the rights to the title that is currently exclusive to Xbox consoles. So it's never looked like likely that PlayStation would revive the IP going forward, having Insomniac work on Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank instead, but that hasn't stopped fans from calling for a remaster or PS5 port of the game since Sony acquired the rights. Insomniac has flirted with the idea of a sequel in the past, and a trademark update in 2021 raised hopes, but we've barely heard anything since then. So the very interesting part about this, for me anyway, is the fact that supposedly, and this is only supposedly, it wouldn't be totally shock me if this were actually the case though, Microsoft owns publishing rights for 3 Sunset Overdrive games. This was sort of in the same situation what happened with Alan Wake, because they originally had a deal with Remedy for a 3-game publishing deal. So that allowed Remedy to keep the Alan Wake IP, just like they sort of made the deal with Insomniac for Insomniac to keep the Sunset Overdrive IP. So someone says, why don't you do a port remastered on PS5, PS5 Pro, and they said we're busy with Marvel's Wolverine, which makes a lot of sense. The thing that I would say is that you wouldn't even really need them to port that. There's several other studios that could port that and do a good job at it. Realistically, it probably has more to do with who owns the rights to it, but I bet Microsoft, given how they are now, would 100% give up the publishing rights to that game. I personally just feel like it's not a hit game. It's realistically just not something that's going to push anything. And it was an expensive game to make. Where you look at Spider-Man sells 10 million copies, and Ratchet and Clank sells 2 million. Apparently Sunset Overdrive didn't even do 2 million. So again, but it came out in 2014, so the Xbox One was still fairly new. But I had a hard time talking anybody into that game. Like, they gave that game away with the Games for Gold title, and I remember telling my friends, I'm like, you guys play this game, get this game, it's free, it's a free game this month. And people were like telling me no, they don't want to play it, it's they never heard of it, it's this, it's that, it's the other thing. So honestly, it's just one of those things that just kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I can understand why they're not going to do that. So that's in my opinion anyway. So they responded for the port, saying that they were busy doing some other things. It's not great news if you were hoping for the return of the mutant hordes. As Insomniac explained, they're currently busy with Marvel's Wolverine and probably the Venom game as leaked, as well as some of the other things that are going on. We know that Insomniac is a studio that have a lot of projects in the works. Wolverine, the next Spider-Man DLC, like I said, the Venom game, supposedly another Ratchet and Clank down the line. It's likely to take precedent over a PS5 port of a title that likely hasn't aged all that well. Sunset Overdrive also wasn't included in a massive leak that the studio suffered last year, which revealed all of its planned projects up to 2032. So if you were really hoping for something to be huge or whatever, yeah, you're going to be a little bit disappointed in what's going on. So yeah, that's my opinion anyway. So it doesn't look likely that we'll see anything in the future, in the next little bit. And like I said, I can understand a little bit why, with the fact that, considering that it didn't really do well, but it'd be a totally different audience. I think maybe the PlayStation audience is more receptive to, an Insomniac Games type of game. They know that there's some demand for a port out there. If it's just a straight port rather than a remaster, it probably wouldn't take too much effort, though it's likely down to whether Sony itself sees any merit in the release. What's weird though is because Sony is so quick to release anything as a remaster or whatever, which is just the God's honest truth, right? They'll release anything that they feel like they can squeeze any pennies out of. Hell, they released a remake of a remaster with The Last of Us Part 1. They remastered The Last of Us Part 2. They did a remaster of Ghost of Tsushima like a year later. Death Stranding a year later. They literally will remaster anything. So it does seem a little bit strange that they wouldn't do this. I think it would be cool to kind of showcase this and maybe be a little bit extra way to stick it to Xbox. Could you imagine? Because there are some Xbox fans that like this game, like myself included. Although I have a PlayStation, so it wouldn't mean much to me. I just get it on PlayStation. But, could you imagine like the slap in the face that would be to Microsoft, right? Because think about this for a second. Sony already gets these kind of slaps all the time in on Microsoft. Like when you look at their Horizon Lego Adventure game or whatever, right? That is and that game is coming to everything but Xbox, right? So when you think about that, Xbox is bringing some of their best exclusives to PlayStation, and Sony's like, yeah, screw you guys. And then you have a situation where one of the best exclusives that the Xbox One ever had, now Sony owns that, and they could put that out on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Pro, and that'd be a real big slap in the face as well, man. Make that thing, 120 frames or whatever, or at least 60 frames, and, I think that would be huge. Seeing how there is somewhat demand for that, I think that would be kind of a funny way to kind of once again give Phil and company a bit of a slapping, as it were. So again, we live in this kind of world where these companies, people want to act like they're good friends or whatever, but that's really not the case. Like Sony clearly does not like Xbox and does not want Xbox competing, hence why they do what they do. So I find that to be would be ironic and funny, and would be a good way for Sony to kind of go out there and kind of slap them around a little bit more and make them look even more incompetent, which hey, I'm all for that. Whatever shakes things up, let me know, because I think that would be a huge deal in my opinion. So maybe you guys might feel the same way as I do or whatever, but let me know, like, how do you guys feel about this game? Would you guys feel that Sunset Overdrive would be a good game to see released on the PS5 Pro? I think it would really kind of showcase it. Obviously it'd be on the regular PS5 as well, but could be a real showpiece, vibrant showpiece on new hardware as well, because it's a fun open world game. Like, I love the game. I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. I would play through it again for sure. I would buy it again on PlayStation 5, just because I think it's one of those games that could probably benefit from having the higher frame rate and things like that. So that's why I would absolutely love to see it, and I'm sure that there's some out there that would, but let me know down in the comments, because I think that's what it all comes down to. I doubt we get one, but it's still fun to kind of think about, and the reasoning behind it could be pretty interesting. So Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. I'm Crab Gamer. This has been Crab Gamer Reviews. If you guys enjoy my content, man, make sure you guys leave a like and possibly even consider subscribing, because at the end of the day, that's what helps the channel get seen and people to kind of watch the videos and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for being a part. Let me be a part of your day and watching one of my silly videos. Remember, I do daily gaming content. Have a great day. Rack 'em up. Crab Gamer out.